What's going on, everybody? This is Randall Barnes, the founder of HBCU Pulse and the host of HBCU Pulse Radio, in the building for another special edition of the show on today, where we are talking about College Hill Celebrity Edition, Season 3, Episode 5. I have Kiya Wimbush-Robinson in the building, HBCU Pulse and Clutch Points writer. How you doing today, Kiya?
I'm good, Randall. How are you?
I'm tired of Saucy Santana, I'll tell you that much. I'm very tired of Saucy Santana. I listen, Saucy Santana. I've been saying this every single review that Saucy gotta go. And you know what's so crazy, Kiya, is if people watch the episode and if you listen to what Claudia Jordan said, didn't it sound like what I said, Kiya? That Saucy Santana is a very successful celebrity, so he's not taking this seriously because he doesn't have to. And we both have said it, but she said it like how I said it verbatim. I got article proof, Kiya. I got proof.
Yeah, as much as I love him as an artist, he's really just not doing it for me on the show because, like, how many episodes are there? Like, in total? It's like 10.
It's 10. So it's 10. So it started off with 2. You popped off with 2, and now we have 5 episodes left.
So we have 5 episodes left. It's finals, and he's still ain't been in class. That's kind of crazy.
It's very crazy.
That's very much crazy.
It is. And
like, that's extremely crazy.
I understand why he's still there, because I think what Zula wants to put over is they don't give up on their students. And that's something that, with this being a BET show, and this is going to air on BET in the future. And I went and got the numbers, like I said, on last week. It took a minute to get them because my normal ratings plug, they don't do TV ratings anymore. But they got over 500,000 people that watched the sneak peek of College Hill after the BET Awards. Now, back in 2022, that was over 850,000, because at that point in time, College Hill hadn't premiered yet. Now, this year, College Hill did already premiere. There were about 3 episodes in, so you can just go to BET Plus and watch College Hill if you want to watch it. But that lead-in was monstrous, and I thought that was an amazing look for Zula. So I understand sort of the reputation protection when it comes to not throwing away your students and disregarding your students, because it's sort of off-brand for HBCUs to just throw away a student that's not performing well. But it's also off-brand to have a student that does not come to a single solitary class and doesn't do any work, like literally like sleeps on the couch, on the sofa, and you would think, oh, he's a celebrity, he's gonna be making calls, doing business deals. He is sleeping on the couch like it's a Saturday. He's 16.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy. I'm just like, okay. Like, the first few episodes, I'm like, all right, like, he has to, like, get into it. But at this point, Saucy, just go home. Just go home. Just go home. It's okay. School isn't for everyone.
It's definitely not for him. I tell you that much, because we talked about it. People just think the experience of school is just about partying and social life, but we are there to get the work. But Saucy don't feel like he needed. Saucy don't really want to be at no HBCU. He don't want to be in college. Saucy want to be at the club. He want to be at home. He want to go to sleep. Like, it is just, it's so frustrating, because for me, and this is what I wrote in my recap on Clutch Points, that for me, I just feel as if this season is a chore to watch thus far. And I'm not bashing College Hill as a franchise, nor am I bashing College Hill Celebrity Edition, because I don't have ties with them, but I don't want to like go against them for their hard work, because I think that the season is well shot. They've done an amazing job with the modern era production. And also, I thought that last episode told a great story. But Saucy Santana is dragging down the potential of what this season can be, because what we want to see is the celebrities interfacing with HBCU life. And we can't see it because Saucy Santana is asleep. Because look at that debate. You have Angela, you got Claudia, you got Tamar, then you have Carlos and Nick. First, Saucy wasn't there to help him out, number one. I think he really could have helped out in that debate. Yeah. But also, we saw a summarized, sort of like a short version of that debate that probably went longer, that I know for me watching, I didn't really understand why Angela, Claudia, and Tamar won that debate because I thought that Carlos and Nick presented some really great arguments. And I know it went to the students. The students voted on who had the best
Mm-hmm.
presentation and the best argument in the debate. But we barely could see that debate because they wasted
Yeah.
about 5-6 minutes out the whole entire episode showing Saucy not going to school. It's crazy to me.
Yeah, I honestly feel like the debate seemed like it was just really interesting to see because, like, I don't know, it was just like I did expect more from it because it just seemed kind of all over the place, is what I'm really trying to say. It didn't seem like there was like a lot of structure, and maybe just the way they, like, cut up the shot and then, like, put it together, that it just seemed I was really, like, having a hard time, like, following because, like, they're debating, and the next thing you know, like, people are starting to get offended, and, like, it was, like, a whole thing, and I'm just like, "Where like, when did this happen? Like, where did this come from? Like, how did this conversation, like, cause this reaction?" So, like, the debate scene was, like yeah, we didn't see enough of it. So I definitely agree.
Yeah, we didn't because I want to see how the men were offensive and oh they're losing, so they start to get mean. I didn't see Carlos or Nick get mean. I've seen Carlos mean. Oh, we've seen it multiple times. I didn't see them get mean. I saw them trying to argue their point, and all I saw was I'm speaking, I'm talking, and they might have been talking over them. I don't know. I can only go off of the footage that is edited, but just they're focusing so much on a celebrity that isn't there, that doesn't want to be there. And that's the thing that really truly upsets me. And I don't know if you said it or if someone on social media said it, but I think you might have said it last week that possibly next season they need to get celebrities that actually want to be there and put in their contract. Like if you missing classes, you getting the boot. Like we gonna
Yeah.
edit you because we can
Yeah.
edit him out, or we can edit Saucy out. You'll never
Yeah.
know Saucy was there. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we got AI
Yeah.
now. Like we can put it with like Tupac in the house. You know what I'm saying? We can put Biggie up in the house. Like
Tupac is crazy.
Drake did it. So I mean, listen.
Tupac Tupac is really crazy. But no, like literally I feel like, yes it is like what's the word I'm looking for? Yes, it is like reality TV, but you're still there with the purpose. So I feel like Sausage is wasting his own time and wasting these people's time. And it just amazes me that just like what I said last week, is that when you want to do something, you're going to put effort into it. Like how he wanted to be a rapper and wanted to break barriers because of who he is in the rap industry. He was able to do that with hard work. In this situation, he doesn't want to work hard, but that's his choice. But if you don't want to work hard, then you don't need to be there. Like, simple. They really could have picked someone else at this point. I was really like, I was rooting for him in the beginning, but now it's just kind of like, I'm kind of over it.
Yeah. And I got to ask you this because I didn't know how to put this appropriately in the article recap that I did without it seeming elitist. Like, oh my gosh, I'm so smart. I went to college. But like,
Mhm.
did it shock you that like Nick Young and Angela White didn't know how to use PowerPoint? Did it shock you? It shocked me.
And just to answer your question, it's not elitist, but because everyone doesn't know everything. I'm a firm believer that no one knows everything, but we live in the age of technology. You could have easily Googled how to use PowerPoint. It was a quick Google, even a quick TikTok, because that's the thing now. People look on TikTok when they look on Google. You could look up PowerPoint on TikTok. It's like, and it's like kind of one of those things. Like if you really want to figure it out, you will. But I feel like for them, they're like, oh, because we haven't been in school or we've been out of school so long. Now, oh well, that like it's like they're trying, but they're not giving their full effort. Because if you really want to figure something out, you'll figure it out. Because even with me with 2 degrees, I don't know everything. I still have to look things up sometimes. Even things that I think that I would know, should know, I still need extra information sometimes. So I just feel like for them, if they really wanted to do the assignment correctly, they could have went the extra mile and looked it up. Because even then, Carlos, like he didn't know what he was doing. Yeah, he had a PowerPoint, and he's considered like older. He's considered like the unk of the group. So it's like if he was able to figure it out, you could just simply ask him, "Hey, can you show me what you did so I can do my assignment the same way?" Granted, y'all gonna talk about different things, but you really could have asked someone, or you could have looked it up. And even asking teachers, like that's why they're there, sending an email saying, "Hey, I know this is what we're supposed to do, but I'm not familiar with PowerPoint. Can you show me exactly what you're looking for, X, Y, Z?" It's all about asking, but I feel like that takes a little bit more initiative.
It was shocking for me. I hear exactly what you're saying, but the thing that's crazy to me is that I remember my dad when I was younger. He used to always talk about how he had heard, I think, in like a news article or maybe like a TV show, that Paris Hilton, she did not know what Walmart was. And she was so rich that she did not know what Walmart was, because why would she have to go to Walmart? She's a I think a millionaire, a billionaire heiress. Like, what's she going into Walmart for? Like, rich folks have like other grocery stores that they go to, right? So it's like Walmart is something that is big to us, or Target for some people. But I'm a Walmart guy, you feel me? So like I know a lot about Walmart. So it's like Paris Hilton didn't know about Walmart. She was born into money. But you have Angela White, you have Nick Young. I would assume that they went to, at the very least, fifth grade. Because I was doing PowerPoints in fifth grade, like sixth grade, seventh grade. And I know you went to high school, you done did you some PowerPoints. So you telling me Nick Young that went to USC, and I know athletes, oh, like we have this expectation that athletes don't go to class. Athletes do go to class. A lot of these athletes, truth be told, are very intelligent, especially if you're talking about understanding, high level athletes, understanding of the plays, football, understanding of the coverages, what the defense is going to do. Basketball, same thing, offensive sets, all these different things. That takes a level of knowledge and understanding and competency that a lot of folks don't really understand, because some athletes, sometimes they're so into their sports, they don't apply it. But I'm pretty sure that Nick has used PowerPoint before. And Angela, being an influencer, being a model, being an actress, you're telling me that you have never interfaced with Microsoft PowerPoint, and you can't just get on your MacBook or get on your Microsoft computer or what have you that you paid all this money for, and you can't drag a picture, and you can't go to the text box that they have there for you and just put that thing in and just start typing. Like that was confounding to me, and I'm like, what are we doing here? Is it really a separation and a delineation between celebrities and the rest of us? Because it seems like, looking at this show and looking at what I've seen from College Show Celebrity Edition, it's almost like they're like a different human race. Almost like we just the normal people, and they fly to their engagements. They do stuff differently. They got different types of phones. Like, it just like how, like for me, how do you not know how to use PowerPoint? Because once upon a time, Nick, you real good at basketball, you tall, but you was right there in high school doing the same stuff that I was doing. Angela, you're not like 50 or 60, you're like what, 35 years old. So I got love, Angela, but let's be for real. You were using PowerPoint too. You didn't go to school in 1965 during Jim Crow segregation. Like, you was there in 2000. Like, what the world?
No, like I definitely feel that too. And you know what's crazy? Like, fun fact. So Angela is from DC, and I remember when she was still like in her Black China era, she had posted that she got into Johnson and Wales. So she applied to Johnson Wales because she wanted to be a chef. And I looked on the address, and during the time, like I grew up in Maryland, like that's where I'm from. She lived like right down the street from me. Like we lived in like the same area. So like if you apply to Johnson Wales, you're applying to go to school, like you should know what PowerPoint is. But I feel like for them, they have this. You ever hear someone say like you start saying something enough, like you start to believe it? I feel like because they're so far removed from school or never going to school that they really did forget. But it's like you haven't. I feel like they haven't tried to remember because yeah, things are different as far as like material, that kind of thing, the way things are done. But some things remain the same. I've been doing PowerPoints since the fifth grade, like, and I'm well into my adult years. I'm well into my career now. Even working in a job, I've had to do PowerPoint. So it's like I've never lost that skill because I've always had to do it. So I feel like for them, I feel like Yeah, they were in school such a long time ago, and they're, like, sticking with that. I think that's their crutch. It's like, "Oh, we were in school such a long time ago, or we've never been. That's why I can't do X, Y, Z." Instead of saying, "Okay, I might be a little rusty," but taking the initiative to try and figure it out on their own. They'd rather simply not do it or do it halfway than actually see it through because, "Oh, we have been in school this long," or "I've never been in school, period." I feel like it's an excuse at this point because if you really gonna figure something out, you're gonna figure it out.
Do you think that maybe we feel this way because we want the old format of College Hill? Like we just want regular college students. Maybe they're influencers. Maybe they have a bunch of TikTok followers or something like that. Maybe they got a bunch of Instagram followers. But maybe they're college students and we just want that back because I just think that with College Hill Celebrity Edition, the allure of it, as we've continuously said, is that they are celebrities interfacing with HBCU life and going to class, and we're capturing the hijinks of them trying to interface in college life, especially at an HBCU, and them trying to figure out academics. But I just think that all of us, we're tired of the celebrity aspect of it. We want to see what that Miss Zula would be like if we covered her life. Or the star basketball
Mhm.
player, or at Alabama State got Andrew Body down there now, like the star quarterback, like how they would interface, sort of how the College Hill Jackson State would have been with Shador and Shiloh and Shalimai if they actually did
Mhm.
it. Of course, that didn't happen. But like, do you think that maybe a lot of our frustration, especially for us that watched the original College Hill, do you think that our frustration is rooted in the fact that we want actual students and not the celebrities like Saucy Santana, who clearly are too successful to be here because they don't care?
I feel like it's part of the reason too, but I feel like I think also because I would love to have like the original College Hill back. I feel like there's a way that you can do it, but you just have to be strategic about what you shoot. And I feel like it's manageable, but it would really take a lot of planning and like, okay, this is what is going to happen and getting the right group of students like on the show. Because I feel like, especially as far as with this generation that they see a lot of the HBC experience on social media. So like, oh, like I saw Encounter on TikTok, I want to go there now, or I see that this is what happened at Fort Valley. Oh, I think I should, do some more research. So it's like social media and that kind of thing play a big role into introducing high school students, middle school students, or like people who aren't even on the road to college at this moment to the college lifestyle, especially at an HBCU. So I feel like bringing back College Hill, but doing it in a more like a very structured way, especially because times have truly changed, would be great. But as far as like the celebrity aspect, I don't mind the celebrity aspect of it. I think it's still pretty cool. Um, but I do feel like it's kind of, especially when you know the celebrity outside of, this show, that picking celebrities that really are like putting forth the effort, who really like want to do this makes a difference. Because even though like the rest of the group seems like, hey, like we want to be here, they're still falling short for me because it seems like even though they want to be here, they're not taking the extra initiative as a normal college student would. Because like I said, it's something we don't know. We ask a professor, we Google it, we phone in a friend. I forgot what show that is, but you know what I'm saying? Like we do things like that. Where as far as these celebrities, it's kind of like, oh well, I'm a celebrity. Yes, I want to be here. I haven't been to school in 100 years, or I've never been to school. Oh well. And then we just got sauce, we just don't care. So I feel like the frustration does come from the fact that we want the old like college hill back, but also in the same breath, just having celebrities who like truly want to be there and then also really making the most of the experience and really like diving in into what college is truly about. Because there's no way that I can sit here and say, oh, I don't understand something or I don't understand an assignment and simply just not do it. I didn't have that luxury. They have that luxury. I don't have that luxury because they even once they leave College Hill, Tamar had a show. She's the bomb. She's still gonna be singing shows. I mean singing, doing shows. Saucy's still gonna be rapping. I'm pretty sure Carlos got a call for Wild 'N Out next week. So it's like once they leave the show, they're going back to their normal lives. As for us who are in college, we're trying to start our lives. They're already where we want to be, if that's whatever they do is something that you aspire to. But we are in the process of getting there. So it's like we take this way more seriously. We want this by any means necessary. So that means I have to stay up till 4 in the morning to finish this presentation because it's worth 30% of my grade. I'm gonna do that. I've done that many a times, crying and all, because I wanted it. Like I took it seriously. Like I'm not gonna say, oh well, I waited till the last minute. I'm just simply not gonna do it, or I don't understand. I'm not gonna do it. That wasn't me because I don't have that luxury. I'm not a world famous comedian, or I'm not a singer, or I'm not a big influencer, or whoever else. I'm just starting my career. So when I was in school, I had to make sure I got my work done by any means necessary. But that means I lost sleep. I couldn't go to the yard. I had to skip the calf, like whatever it meant. I had to go the extra mile and take that initiative to get my work done. For them, it's just kind of like, okay, yeah, we're taking it seriously, but we don't understand certain things, so we're simply not going to do them. Because yeah, on the show they're going to, they might get it feeling great, but what real repercussions do they have? Because they're already established. As for me, if I were to continue that pattern, I'm not going to get my degree. So I can't start my career so I can become a Claudia Jordan or a Black China or a Tamar or a Carlos or a Nick or whatever, whoever else like you aspire to be. So it's like, yeah, I feel like some of them are taking it seriously, but in retrospect, it's like it don't really matter because they're already doing what they want to do. So it's like they're taking it seriously, but just not like all the way.
I feel that, and I want to just say that the Tamar thing. I'm not even gonna lie. Shout out to Tamar Braxton. Actually a fan of her music,
No,
but
me too. I love Tamar.
it really that sort of upset me. Like, oh well, this is the final for the class that she's been complaining about. Now we see her leaving, hopping on a flight to go to a show, and I'm just like, in that moment, and I understood it. I understand you got to work, but like, that moment, I was like, what are we doing here? Because what happens? Because maybe she atones for it. Maybe they figure out another point in time when she does another assignment. Because I know that there were moments like Nene, I believe that when they filmed College Hill season 1, her husband passed away. So I know that she left and had to deal with that. And then I think she had some makeup work she had to do. But that just takes you out of the experience. It just takes you out of the experience where it's like, I think this is 4 weeks. So it's like, you can't take 4 weeks out of the schedule to film this show and just do this show and just go on about it. And I understand she's going to come back because we see she comes back in the preview to see her grade. So she's going to be, it's not like she's leaving forever and she's been engaged. But that part that happens almost every season where they leave, that is sort of what irks me. And I'm saying this, and I say this all the time because I don't want to be misconstrued. I totally understand, number one, why we don't have a regular college student College Hill like the OG version. And I also understand, and this is something that Ray, in my interviews with him, impressed upon me, Ray Cunningham. He said, like, hey,
And shout out to Virginia State.
Yeah, shout out to Virginia State. Like, he's impressed upon me in those interviews that doesn't mean that it's not coming back. It's not like, oh, it's never coming back, because Celebrity Edition is a different franchise. See, in the first interview I did with him in 2022, he said Celebrity Edition is just a different franchise, a part of like almost like the broader universe of College Hill. So that doesn't mean that the version with the students won't come back. It's sort of, I would think, a matter of when and what school would be open to that. But I just think that for me, as the best reflection of the college experience, although I think this is a good reflection, I just really would like college students that don't have to go to a concert, or that don't have to just go. I gotta go film Love Hip Hop real quick. I'll be back. Like I just want students that maybe if it's a football player and they gotta go to like the game, like it's the classic, it's VSU versus Norfolk State, and they gotta go do that. Send a camera crew with him and sort of showcase that experience, what that looks like. You know what I mean? Like that's why I think, for me, why I would love to see the regular college hill return soon. Because now, in what you're saying, right? If there's a Saucy Santana acting student that is not taking this seriously, that's being disrespectful to their advisors, that's not going to their classes throughout the period of time they're doing the schoolwork or however the time that they're doing the semester or what have you, and they're talking back and they're staying in their dorm room and they're going out to party. Now there's a consequence, and you're talking about dramatic TV. You're talking about good TV. Oh, I would love to see that. I love to see that in front of judiciary, in front of the academic advisors, the provost having to answer themselves because, sir, you on TV, but you ain't a celebrity.
No, you're a real student. You're
You,
a real student. But even down to like them leaving, I feel like too is that it's kind of I see like this show kind of as like a mirror to the original. Yes, it's different, but in some ways they are the same. So I feel like looking at like the whole Tamar thing where she had to leave to do a show and the example you just used of like a football player, basketball player, whatever. Like I had a my last semester of grad school, I had a classmate, she was on the basketball team, and our teacher did not play. That man did not play. You had, I think, like 3 times to miss class during the semester because we only met once a week. But she was gone more than those 3 times, but he already excused her because she was, she was a student athlete. So I feel like even though I get what you're saying about, them not going off, I feel like in this world of celebrities at school, this is their version of going to play a basketball game, or this is their version of doing X, Y, and Z. Because in the real world, like those kind of things happen, or at school those kind of things happen, like royal court gotta go for certain things, or people gotta leave for certain, like, you know what I'm saying. So like even like with me, I wasn't like on royal court at I didn't play a sport, but I had to miss class for like conferences and things of that nature. So it's like, yeah, you want them there when they have finals and major assignments, and jetting off to do a show, whatever. But I feel like it's still an accurate depiction of what actually happens in school, because regardless of whatever you're involved in, there will be times where you will have to miss major assignments. But that's something that you already discussed with your teacher off rip. And then, if it's a presentation, if it's a test or whatever, y'all talk about, okay, when can I make it up? Or if it's a presentation, what is my assignment in exchange for me being absent? Because I have to do that for plenty of times for conferences and all that other stuff where I miss classes, like major test presentations, and I still have to make it up somehow. So yeah, it's like, you know, leaving, but it also, like, I feel like in this world, in this small bubble of College Hill Celebrity Edition, it's like an accurate depiction of what really happens at the HBCU, because like students have to leave for different things all the time, and even down to like the first time we were really like talking about Saucy Santana, there's a Saucy Santana type of student at every campus, a bunch of them. So it's like, yes, it's kind of like, dang, because you were like, you decided to come on this show, but it's also, like I said, like still an accurate depiction of what happens at HBCU or even at a PWI, any type of other school. Because you have students who aren't as academic driven, they're simply there for the social experience, and you find those everywhere. And just like at all the other schools, you have students who have other obligations outside of academics where they do have to leave. So I feel like even in the celebrity space, yeah, they chose to come here. But even just like Claudia still doing her show, she makes time to still do her show. And even with like, cause like at like it was like the first episode, it was like at night. But then like when they were all meeting and talking together, they were like, "Where's Claudia? She's doing her show. Her show's in the middle of the day." So imagine she had class and this was like a super important, this was lined up since last year that she gonna have people like Barack Obama or something like that. Like a normal student, you would talk to your teacher, say, "Hey, I have this situation going on, and I'm gonna have to miss class. But what can I do? Like, or what is my makeup work? Because that's a real thing." So it's like, and these are celebrities, so they have big jobs. Like they have real big jobs. Like Taylor is like a very famous singer. So it's like, imagine her canceling a show full of thousands and thousands of people to sit here and do. an assignment. Granted, yeah, it's important, but as long as she locked in with her team and the teacher beforehand, she gotta do what she gotta do. Just like a normal classroom will have to do what they have to do. If they have to go for a game or they have to go for a pageant or a speaking engagement, whatever. It's like the same thing.
Yeah, I think that just my difference would be if that was someone that was absent because of the college experience, that is another storyline or another pathway to tell that story, because I know for me, and I told you about this as I was watching through All American Homecoming, and what I realized is that I was sort of off track a little bit because I was like, well, they never showcase SGA in any of these HBCU shows, and then Nate runs for SGA president, what I'm saying? Then the SGA president, unfortunately, because he's sort of a bad person, like is now a part of like the storyline, so it's like. Like in those moments, like the College Hill, the original College Hill, you saw the SGA president, like you saw the Greek life at VSU, like you saw different aspects of the campus experience, right? But I think that if it was regular students, that would be a part of the show versus, oh, Tamar left, so we're not even going to reference her. And Saucy's going to just magically come in and do this bill. Like, it's like, that's the thing.
Yeah, that was just like, that was something I did not like. I will say that because you ain't putting in no work. You really about to sit here and just read off the paper. Like, please, please, please. Like, do you know how embarrassing it will be? It's gonna be. They're gonna say, I haven't seen you all this time, and now you're gonna pop up for the final. Like, you wasn't there, like, at all.
It was wild to me. I think that was just wild. Let me
Yeah,
ask
that was
this.
crazy.
Let me
That was
ask you
very
this.
crazy.
Let me ask you this because this is something I was thinking about as you were talking, and then we're going to talk about Carlos Miller. Do you think that maybe the classes that they are assigning the celebrities might be actually too challenging? Because we look at it because we went to college and we're like, we've seen people not do well in our classes, but we did well, and like that class about in that political science class to someone that doesn't have a baseline knowledge of politics or they haven't interfaced with it in a basic level outside of civic engagement of voting and maybe advocacy, they might not understand the importance of the bill or the importance of addressing homelessness like a Carlos Miller or some of the other classes that appear to be more challenging. Do you think that maybe if they had like a freshman orientation about the university, and and they had like PE, like maybe some college courses that maybe aren't as rigorous, do you think that possibly the experience might be a little bit better and maybe a Saucy Santana will show up to class or Carlos won't argue down the professor if we gave him PE and we gave him like elementary English, like something like that? Like, do you think that maybe the experience would be a little bit better if maybe the coursework wasn't as challenging? Some of the coursework wasn't as challenging.
No, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because once again, it brings me back to my point. If you want to do something, no matter how hard it is, you are going to sit there and do it. Where you have to think about the freshman experience coming to college. You are a freshman coming from high school. And when you're a freshman, yeah, you have like your prereqs, like your basic math, and you might have one or two of those major classes you're taking your freshman year. Granted, those are freshman year like major classes, but for some people, they don't know what's going on in that class. They don't know, like, they have a basic idea about what the class is about because it pertains to their major. But going in sometimes you really have no clue. But you know what you have to sit there and figure it out. Even like with me, when I was a freshman, I majored in hospitality management with a concentration in restaurant management. So my freshman year, I had the math classes. I took English in high school, so I didn't have to do that, like history. And then I had some I had an intro to hospitality class, and then I had food safety and sanitation. Mind you, I know how to cook. I'm at this point, I'm cooking for myself. I'm 18. I know how to do the basic things. But when I tell you, when we really took a deep dive into the world of food sanitation, I was like, what the heck? You have to do what? You can't cook this out what? This got this on it. This got. it was so hard because like I really had a general scheme of like there are like food safety guidelines, but I never knew like the deep details. And I'm a great learner, but still just even that this was hard. So I had to sit there and figure it out. And eventually I got it. So I feel like for them it's kind of like the same thing. Yeah, these classes do be hard, but you have to sit there and buckle down until you get it. Like you can't automatically just go in, or everything's not going to be easy. Everything's not going to be easy, and that's what honestly like adds to the college experience, because we all have that one class or maybe two or maybe three that was so hard that they never want to take it again. I know for my friends who majored in biology, organic chemistry, no, but they had to take it. They had to buckle down and learn. And I've had friends who had to take it more than once. But you like if something required, like if something is a requirement and it's hard, you still have to do it because because you here. So I feel like offering them easier classes will only be a scapegoat, because granted, some schools make you take PE, but we had harder classes other than PE. We had to take them hard classes to get that degree. So it's like anything worth having requires hard work. So whether that's like that super hard class, or the class might not be hard, but the professor might be a pistol, you gotta work through it. Because I've had classes like that where the class was relatively easy, but I had a hard teacher, but I got through it. And I feel like for them, they'll have to get through it just how we got through it. Because we couldn't say, oh, this class is too hard. Can I settle for an easier class? No. Because you and I wouldn't have the degrees that we have if we could do that. So it's like sometimes you have to step up to the plate and accept the challenge. If it's really something that you want, that's why I say it comes all back to my point. If it's really something that you want, no matter how hard it is, you're going to see it through regardless. But I feel like for them, with it being hard, they're not really using their resources, so it's making it harder on them than it has to be. Because I ain't seen no one say, "Let's Google how to write a bill." I ain't seen them say, "Let's Google how to do a PowerPoint." I ain't seen no one email no professor saying, "Hey, Professor so and so, can you help us with this, or can you give us an outline or idea or none of that?" But you can email the professor saying that you're not gonna have the assignment. Use those same fingers to type that man an email and say, "Can you please help me?" It's the same thing. It takes the same amount of energy. So I feel like for them, it's harder on them because they're not using their resources. All you gotta do is ask, or like I said, it's a quick Google search. Like I said, even TikTok, you can find you can find so much information on TikTok. So it's like use your resources, take the extra initiative to like, yes, this is hard, but still see it through. Because once again, you're not going to know everything, but I feel like offering them easier classes would just one use like it'll be a scapegoat for them, and then also too, it will show the actual HBCU students, hey, because you're a celebrity, you could take these easier classes, or we're gonna make it light. We're gonna give you light college, not the full college, like light. But you gotta take these hard classes. You gotta write the 20-page papers, but they can sit in here in color. So
Let me say this before we talk about Carlos Miller. Carlos said something that to me, as someone that really watches as a fan but also reviews this show, that was inaccurate. So they're doing their work in the kitchen, I assume. And Carlos says, I see why Ray J dropped out. We got to set the record straight, unless he's talking about another institution, maybe for Landry Smith, where Ray J said he was going, and then miraculously he didn't go. All of a sudden, we see him on College Hill Celebrity Edition season 1. I don't know if he dropped out of Landry Smith. Maybe that might have been just a picture, right? But Ray J didn't drop out of College Hill season 1.
yeah,
What
he got
happened with
kicked
Ray
out,
J?
right?
Yes, what
He got
happened with
kicked
Ray
out.
J
Yeah.
is Ray J got kicked out because he plagiarized his final exam. He did it. He did it. It was like a poetry slam that was hosted by Ray Cunningham. And they called him up on
No.
FaceTime And I'm not because you still gotta watch. I'm not trying to spoil it for you, but
it's okay.
They called him up on FaceTime, and Ray J, Ray J, a singer, One Wish, all this different stuff. So you think he would might have written some? He's a singer. So he did a poem that was really good. They were like, "Oh, wow, Ray J was really deep." And then all of a sudden, they find out it was plagiarized. So they get Ray J in with the professors and the advisors. And it was a moment where they could have passed him on for the sake of the show, or they could have made it where he couldn't get his degree because he plagiarized. And Texas Southern decided, no, you're not getting your degree. So he didn't drop out. Ray J actually participated, and then he cheated, and he got caught for cheating, and then he didn't get a chance to move on. He then comes back at Alabama State, and he was not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. He was still very much so Ray J. But here's what happened. So you got Orion, who's Omarion's brother, and you have Quay. Quay doing his thing. And you have Parker, like Orion and Quay were the co-valedictorians. Parker from my wife and kids, around our age, salutatorian. But Ray J graduated with honors from Alabama State because he finally tightened up. So to me, I think that is a story that these celebrities have to sort of internalize because they do get their consequences. But then Ray J came back and struggled at first, but he eventually went on to get his degree, and he did graduate from that program with honors. So we got to set the record straight, unless I'm missing something. Maybe the folks in the comments, because they watching us, Kai, 5,000 views for episode, like 3 review. Man, like they watching us. So maybe if I am wrong, which I don't think I am, but if I am, I could be. Let me know if he dropped out somewhere. Maybe he dropped out of Fort Valley and I didn't know. Okay, but like,
Fort Valley's crazy.
Like, let me.
So crazy.
I'm just saying, like, just let me know. All right, but let me say this about Carlos though. I'm very proud of Carlos in this sense. And Carlos actually, Kai, I got to tell you this. I couldn't wait to tell you this, Kai. He saw my tweet. I put up a tweet about how disappointed I was in him. Because he was retweeting and liking different tweets on college students randomly. And I looked at my notifications on Twitter, and Carlos Miller liked and retweeted this. And I was like, yo, that's crazy. But I stand on it, Carlos. I stand on it.
Ooh,
1,000%.
On big business.
Yeah, like he was tripping. Like that was wild how he was acting. And like the tweet he retweeted and liked was that I just sort of expected him to perform better because out of the 85 South show, he was the only one that didn't attend an HBCU. DC went to Fort Valley and dropped out. And Chico Bean went to Winston-Salem in Flores. He's a proud alumnus of Winston-Salem. Pledged Alpha. He's a member of Alpha, right? So like my thing was that you see Chico doing this thing. DC, he dropped out. He jokes about, oh, they didn't want to buy my weed no more. He dropped out. He went to college. So Carlos didn't, and you say this is opportunity. So now he goes to an HBCU. So I thought he would kill it. So that was what he retweeted. I said this in our first recap that we did together. So he retweeted that. So I thought that was interesting. But what I will say, I'm not changing my opinion. I'm changing my opinion based on evidence, not because he retweeted the thing. My opinion has changed on Carlos because I think that he's understood his role, like I said, as Unc, and that a lot of the cast members are looking at him, and I think Claudia as well, to sort of like, hey, like they're doing it, so I'm gonna get right. And and Carlos has really calmed down since the homelessness debate he got into with Dr. Frazier. And I think that, and we talked about it in episode 4, I think that what really changed for him, or episode 3, what really changed for him is seeing that young man that was about 23 years old, that was hardworking, trying to make things happen. His car gets hit by an 18-wheeler, and he's displaced and disenfranchised and homeless because of that fact. He's not just, oh, that's a choice. That was not a choice for him because life is hard. Life gets hard sometimes. So he had to make it. He had to make it happen. You feel what I'm saying? So like, I think that made an impression on Carlos, and I think that his viewpoint changed a bit. And here's what I saw, Kai, and I want to toss to you. Even when he disagreed with the Zulu type of situation with the parade and the white people wearing blackface, he was not with it. He really didn't want to go to that parade. He wasn't as demonstrative, at least from what we saw in the edit. He wasn't as demonstrative as he was about homelessness, because I think this was something that I can understand him. The homelessness thing I can get with, but this one I totally understand. So if you don't know that history, that does enrage you. It might trigger you because of what blackface did to the image of black people. And in fact, that's degrading, and people still use that to this day to degrade black folks. So I totally get him being upset about that. And we could have already rocked like, yeah, that's right, Carlos. Blackface used by white people, and it's willingly no. But he sucked it up, and he said, you know what? I'm gonna go to that parade. He had a good old time too. So I think that Mr. Carlos Miller is some growth that he's going through and undergoing yet. So what do you think about Carlos? You think he's growing, or do you think this is deceptive editing by the College Hill
Deceptive
producer team?
editing is crazy. I think he is growing, but I think we also have to remind ourselves that when we are faced with something new, that sometimes we lash out because doing new things is scary, especially something that you feel like you may not be good at. So it's like, prime example, prime example, even down to drumline. When Devin has to read, like when Sean tries to embarrass Devin's like, oh, read the music, and he's like, I'm not playing that whack cadence, is because he's faced with something that he cannot do. So instead of, being, hey, I cheated a little bit, y'all, like, you know what I'm saying? He's embarrassed because he doesn't know how to read music and he portrays himself as the best. So sometimes when we're faced with challenges, instead of us, taking it on like we should sometimes, we lash out because I don't know how to do this or I've never done this before. So it's kind of like we just like pop off. So I feel like for Carlos, he really has grown. Like he's starting to understand a little bit more. And I feel like the growth is needed because maybe it will inspire other members of the cast. So I think he is on the right path because you don't always have to agree with everything. Especially going to HBCU, like you learn so much and you're not always gonna agree with your classmates or your teacher. Um, but I feel like in this situation, going to an HBCU and experiencing, like the information about Mardi Gras and like the Zulu people, I always joke with my parents that going to an HBCU will radicalize you because you learn so much about our history, and when you're done, you're just like, forget this because you really know, like because Black history is American history, period. But because these institutions were made by us for us, it's like we really like it's we have a collection of information that's like way deeper than what the average person who doesn't go to a HBCU will know. Because I learned so much at Virginia State about Black history because where I went to like middle and high school was predominantly white. It was a mixture, but it was predominantly white. So it's like we weren't having Black history was just a section of the curriculum. It wasn't a whole class. It wasn't a whole thing. So I feel like he's getting a glimpse of what happens sometimes when you go to HBCU. It's like you learn certain things about our history and you like, what? And like it really like turns you up. Cause it's like, no, especially what goes on today with us as Black people, like the things that we still face with in the year 2024. So I think that was really like cool, like to see him have like his own like little like radical moment. Because even as Black people, for some of us, we already have a very, what's the words I'm looking for? Like we already have a strong sense of pride for being Black. So with that sense of pride, it's like, okay, we know about, slavery and the lynchings and all this other stuff. But when you go to an HBCU and you really get to know like what really, really, really happened, it really like it makes you like it opens your eyes to so much more. But then again, on the other hand, it really just makes you like even more like protective of the space of being a Black person, especially this day and age. So I think that was really cool to see, and I think he is growing in the sense of he's understanding the whole college journey. But it's still a work in progress because he was like, "Can I just get my assistant to come down and do the work?" But but it's like I feel it though. I feel it like because sometimes school be like that. When he was like, "I see why Ray J dropped out," even though it wasn't necessarily accurate, I get it because the amount of times I threatened to drop out of school is crazy. You can ask my work study advisor. I used to come in her office every day. CB, I'm about to drop out. And her and my other aunties are like, "Hi, you're not dropping out. You're not dropping out." You're not dropping out. I'm like, yes, I am. I'm about to drop out and I'm gonna do something else. But I didn't drop out. That's why I'm here. But I'm really glad that he's really starting to get the whole like HBCU like experience, because we all have that moment. We all have that one situation where we learn something that really is just like, yeah, like this is what like the whole point of going to HBCU is. So I feel like for him it was like learning about like the Zulu people and like their customs when it comes to like Mardi Gras and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm really proud of Carlos, and I hope he is going to stay on this path for the rest of the season. And looking at just the preview, it looks like it's going to be interesting because my girl Angela White, she gonna get upset because she gonna see that grade and she not gonna understand it. And I totally get it because she's been present, she's been coming to class when it was time for that
Mm-hmm.
presentation. Miss Angela White was dressed down like she had Louis Vuitton. Like I think it was, I don't know if that was a,
She ate.
yeah,
It was Chanel. I was like,
Chanel. Yeah,
oh, her outfit eats. I said, oh yeah, the outfit was eating for
she
sure.
was she was the only
But
one that
that's
dressed up. Was she the only one
yeah,
dressed up?
it was her, Claudia, and Nick. Carlos
Of
had on a
course.
hoodie, and it was Carlos had on a hoodie and some jeans. But you know what? At least he's here. And then Saucy had on some. Was it? Is that Denim Tears? I think is that brand. Someone called it the oxtail outfit because that's what it looks like.
The
But I
oxtail
think
outfit.
someone call it like the oxtail outfit. But if I'm not mistaken, I think it's Denim Tears. Like with they look like flowers or something on it. Yeah, people call it like the oxtail outfit. That's what Saucy had on. But I feel like, but we said this like in like earlier recaps. Like Claudia, Nick, and like Angela, they really get it because they're the only people dressed up, so they're really getting like. It may have taken them a little bit longer, but they're fully getting what's happening in like when it comes to the way things go at HBCU, because during presentation days, like we said before, you dress up, you put in your best. Ain't gotta be your Sunday's best. Your best business casual. Your best business casual, and you get up there and you do what you gotta do. But yeah, and that's like another thing too, like when it comes to not just the HBCU experience, but school in general. Is like when you work hard at something and you're putting in the work, and then you look at your grade and you say, whose grade is this? Because I've been there plenty of times. You thinking that you're doing these assignments, oh yeah, I'm gonna get an A, I'm gonna get this. And you come back and you're like, who this for? Oh, this not mine. This can't be mine. So like I understand her frustration. So I'm excited to see like, what happens on the next episode.
Yeah, and I'm tell you who one person I'm excited to see their grade. I'm excited to see Saucy Santana and all the F's across the board, and maybe
I'm
maybe that'll
like, they
motivate
don't
them.
get Fs.
Listen, Kyle, this is an amazing conversation. Make sure if you all haven't already to go to Clutch Points and read my College Hill recap. I got way more in the weeds. I really be going deep. I be writing my dissertation, okay, about College Hill.
No, yeah, you be going. And I be like, oh my gosh.
you be seeing.
I be like, no, you really be going. And I know your keyboard be tore up. Like, I'm about to sit here and write this. And let me tell you how Saucy Santana got on my nerves.
and literally
It is,
like there's a part of my recap for the folks that want to know that there's a part of our recap that said again, let me rant about Saucy Santana. That's the
no,
title of the
my friend
section.
be going, and he gets down. Don't play when it comes to recaps. Get down. Do not play when it comes to these recaps. And so
uh
y'all better go and read them.
Hilarious. But Kaya, where can we find you on social media, and how can we find your writing?
So you can find my writing on clutchpoints.com. You can click my name. I have all my little articles right there. And as far as social media, you can follow me at Kaya on Fire, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Yeah.
Like what you hear?
Yeah.
Subscribe to HBCU Pulse Radio on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Also, head to HBCUPulse.com to stay up to date on what's going on in the HBCU community. Thank you for listening to HBCU Pulse Radio.